What's going on, you guys? It's Hiram coming at you again. Today I want to give a little bit of an update on a video that I posted about 2 weeks ago called "Is the 2020 Recession Over?" With that, I'm also going to be talking about what I think the market is doing right now in regards to the stock market, and I'm also going to be giving some content out on what are my money moves right now during this time, so stick around for that. So let's get into it. Alright, so in that video I was talking about how the stock market was making sort of a V-shaped recovery due to all of the good news that was coming out about remdesivir being a proven treatment and also the Federal Reserve bailing out all of the companies. So I kind of showed you a graph that looked kind of like this, where many of the companies in the stock market had plummeted, and then after a while, because of all the good news that was coming out, it started making a sort of V-shaped recovery. Well, I want to just provide an update as to what's been going on now. It's been a couple weeks. What is happening? Well, let me just say that whereas I thought that there was going to be a V-shaped recovery in the market, it has most definitely done the opposite, where it has started to kind of come back down and then it kind of comes back up again, making a little bit more of a W-shaped kind of recovery. And to be honest with you, I think that's what's going to be happening with many companies in the stock market. For example, the airlines have plummeted, right? And then they came back up. And then if you've been hearing the news lately about last week, Warren Buffett sold all of his airline shares. And because he's a very famous dude and many people follow him and what he does, they followed suit. And that made the airline industry kind of plummet. And actually it tested new lows where it was even lower this time. And it has since started coming back up due to the fact that states are reopening. There have been potential vaccines in the works, and all of this happening is causing, again, the stock market to come up. But this just goes to show how volatile the stock market really is. And by volatile, I just mean it's very unstable, not steady whatsoever. Anything can happen. You won't even expect it, and that's what I mean by volatility. And because of this volatility, I feel like many companies in the market are going to be making this sort of U-shaped recovery, and it'll probably stay around this area for a while. It won't be back up to where it used to be anytime soon. I think a lot of new investors make that mistake when they first start out. In fact, I was one of those that made the assumption that, oh, if you find a company so high back in January and February, and it is now super low, then it'd be a good time to buy in, because eventually it's going to go back up to where that price used to be. And that's just not the case with many of these companies. Some of them are going to go completely bankrupt, where you're just going to lose all of your money. And some of these companies might make it, but will take a very long time for them to recover and even make a profit. And that's because many of these companies that are still surviving right now are taking on loads and loads of debt to just stay in business. And I think that's going to affect them in the long run, because they're going to have to pay off all that debt. And so for it to really come back up on stock price will have to take quite a while, because they're going to have to recover from all of this. That's why you got to be careful, and you got to know the risk and the volatility involved in the stock market. Because sure, everything is green right now. As of the closing of today, I checked my Webull account and saw that all of my stocks were green and everything's grown in value. But something that you got to keep in mind is this W shape. Again, a couple of W's where things are going to go up, but then they're going to go back down. And I think maybe a reason why they might go back down again this time around is because many states are reopening. Well, sure, that makes it go up. But maybe there's news that comes out in the near future where there's a big spike in coronavirus cases, and so that might start spreading fear across the country, across the states. And because of this fear, people are going to be sheltered in place. Maybe some state representatives might regret the fact that they reopened the state and try and bring it back into lockdown, and so the stock price will go back down again. You just never know with the stock market and what it's going to do, because you really don't know what's going to happen out there. Sure, we can try and factor in what's going to happen, and that's what many of us do, But the fact of the matter is we don't know exactly what's going to happen. And so all of our investments are mostly just assumptions about what's going to happen. We factor all of the risks in, and then we decide whether to buy in or not. So for your typical investor, here are just a few tips for investing in the stock market, okay? Number one, never put more than you're able to lose in the stock market, because whatever you can lose, you might lose. And that's just the fact of the matter, guys. Anything that you put in there, you can lose. Obviously, you want to factor in all of the risks and everything, and you won't lose that much, but you should be ready to, because it's very much an emotional game sometimes. And to be fully transparent, I already have my 6 months of expenses saved up, and I only have a small portion of my cash invested. I have some in my brokerage account that I haven't invested yet. I'm just waiting to make some good moves, but the money that I have invested is just money that is extra aside from my emergency fund and anything else that I have. And that's just because the money that I have in the stock market is money that I wanted to use to be able to learn how the stock market works and to see if I can make some money, see if I can have a return on my money. But all of that was just for learning purposes. And the more that I learn, the more that I'll be able to feel comfortable in maybe putting in more. You also want to know what kind of strategy do you want to go into when you're investing in the stock market. Are you trying to invest for dividends, where you get a steady dividend from a company every month? Or are you trying to make some quick cash, maybe looking into day trading or options trading? Or are you putting in your hard-earned money in a place where you think you can make a safe bet that you know it's going to grow you money? And for me, it's more of the third option. I want to put my money in a safe place where I know it's going to grow and there's not much volatility like there is right now with the airline stocks. And so with that being said, some of my money moves, so to speak, are to actually move all of my shares from my airline stock into a safer S&P 500 ETF stock. And what I mean by that is basically this. I want to be completely transparent with you guys, and in order to do so, I need to explain what I mean. I bought Delta Airlines at around $23 a share. I don't know exactly how many shares I bought with them. I know it was at $23.60 a share. I forgot how many shares, but I know that my total cost basis is around $1,140. So my total cost basis in Delta Airlines is $1,140. When Warren Buffett made the announcement that he pulled all of his money out of the airline stock, that next Monday, it fell hardcore. And eventually it dropped, and this is Delta Airline in specific, it dropped to around $19 a share. And to just see that my $1,100 had now gone down was just like a pit in my stomach that was created. It was just a weird feeling to know that, hey, like you're losing money. And at that time, I think it was just earlier this week or last week, where a lot of people were saying, man, the airline stocks are gonna go even lower. Everybody's pulling out their money. It's just so risky. These companies might not make it. And so I was just like, should I sell or should I wait? Because if I sell now, I'm gonna lose my money or some of my money, not all of it, but I was just afraid. And so I decided to kind of fight that herd mentality and not sell and see what it was gonna do. Well, sure enough, early this week, it starts climbing back up to 20, 21, and at today's close, it was at $22 or 22 and some change. And so I've now seen it gone up, and it's kind of crazy to just see the volatility and to learn from all of this. But yeah, I'm gonna wait till it goes up to maybe 23, 24, hopefully 25. I don't know if that's wishful thinking, but if it does that, I'm definitely selling out and I'm piecing out of that Delta Airlines stock. And you can say, man, Hiram, you're gonna miss out on a big opportunity. There's a lot of people that are gonna start traveling, states are reopening, but it's like I said, because there's just so much volatility, I'd rather put my money into an S&P 500 ETF, which right now I've got some money in VOO, which is a ticker symbol for one of the S&P 500 ETFs. And in that, I can just buy a little piece of all of America's greatest companies. And I think with that, I'm making a safer bet on the growth of the United States and the companies, and be able to see a better return on my money and not have to be so worried about all of the volatility that's going on with the airline stocks. Something that I've learned also is that the stock market is definitely no indicator or reflection of what the economy is looking like right now. Okay, the stock market can do one completely different thing from the economy, because in the economy, we're still seeing a lot of people unemployed, businesses, small businesses going out of business, and people not being able to make their payments on any of their debts. And then on the stock market, you're seeing everything rise, you're seeing everything green. And so don't be making that mistake that just because everything is green and high in the stock market, that everything is really good with the economy. I think that's what a lot of our politicians are having trouble with looking at. But the same goes vice versa. Just because everything is bad in the economy doesn't mean everything is going to be bad in the stock market. You got to evaluate both. For those of you that are still having income during this crisis and you're looking into investing in the stock market, make sure you check out Webull, because whenever you sign up and you deposit $100, you get 2 free stocks with them. And yes, whenever you sign up and deposit $100 and you get your 2 free stocks, I'm also going to get free stocks because I was the one that referred this to you. I mean, it's no big deal. It's kind of like a referral program. Whenever you have your account, you're also going to be able to refer other people and get free stocks for referring other friends. That's just one simple way to kind of make money during this whole thing, but that's only if you're interested in investing in the stock market through Webull. If you're scared to begin investing in the stock market, or you just don't want to deal with all that, just make sure you have at least some money in a high yield savings account where you're trying to keep up with inflation and you get free interest money whenever you have your money in a high yield savings account. There's a ton of them out there. Just Google it. You'll be able to find some. For those of you that are unemployed and are really struggling and hurting to make money, my thoughts and prayers go out to you. There's really not much I know that I can do, but make sure you just adjust and adapt to these situations around you. Get creative in finding solutions to your problems. Although I'm not unemployed as many of you out there, I do feel for you, just because my pay has also been drastically cut. And although I'm still doing okay, me and my family are fine, it kind of pushes me to begin to think about different ways that I need to be able to make income and be able to find different streams of income so that I'm not only relying on one way of making money. With all this being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.